The corridor was silent, but not still. Each of the 6 guards flanking the prisoner moved in synchronized steps, their armor whispering against the cold metal walls with every shift. Bioluminescent panels above glowed faintly, casting pale green halos over the polished floor. The prisoner's feet were bare, shackled, thin, yet his spine remained straight, eyes forward, unafraid. Behind a translucent observation screen, members of the Galactic Tribunal whispered in low, guttural tones. Species from across 3 sectors of the galaxy had gathered here, on Kerzon Prime, to witness the final erasure of an extinct mistake. The mistake was a man. They called him Elias Crow, though many in the galaxy only knew him as the last human. Rumors surrounded him like smoke. Some said he was a war criminal, others claimed he was a living fossil. To the Tribunal, his purpose was symbolic. Earth was gone, obliterated after the Xeront Dominion's sweep of the Sol System. Humanity, with all its fire and fury, was reduced to a myth wrapped in ash. Crow, found in a derelict cryopod drifting through interstellar waste, was an artifact to be displayed, mocked, and ultimately forgotten. He stood now at the center of the chamber, wrists and ankles bound with grav-linked cuffs. His face was lean, cheekbones sharp beneath pale, starved skin, hair streaked with gray, eyes the color of burnt amber, intense and impossibly human amidst the parade of scaled, feathered, or metallic tribunal faces surrounding him. High Chancellor Zythrax leaned forward on his throne of spiraling bone and crystal. A member of the Everthi, his 4-jointed fingers curled beneath his chin in mock contemplation. His voice, amplified across the hall, slithered like oil. Elias Crow, human designation, male, species status, extinct. State your final appeal. Crow's lips twitched, not in fear, but recognition. The rhythm of this place, the ceremony of judgment, it was all theater, a slow execution masquerading as due process. He glanced around at the assembly, dozens of alien species arrayed in tiers of influence, watching him like a novelty in a zoo. Some sneered, others simply observed with cold curiosity. "I didn't come here to plead," he said. His voice was raspy from disuse, but steady. "I came to remind you what you buried." A ripple of amusement passed through the tribunal seats. A Skarn diplomat clicked his mandibles mockingly. A translated laugh bloomed through the speakers. Crow didn't flinch. Zythrax tilted his head. "We buried a violent race that could not govern itself. We ended centuries of instability for the greater good. Your extinction was a mercy." "No," Crow said. "It was fear. You feared what you didn't understand. And now, you mock what you tried to erase." The tribunal chamber darkened slightly as holographic panels lit up, showing archival images. Earth's great cities before their fall, the last battles above the moon, the disintegration of orbital stations. Crow didn't look at them. He'd seen enough destruction to last a dozen lifetimes. His eyes remained locked on Zythrax. "I remember Earth," he said. "I remember when we fought back. I remember when we believed we still had a chance." "And now you are alone," said Zythrax softly. "No army, no planet, no people." Crow's silence was not surrender. It was the quiet before revelation. Deep beneath the tribunal hall, unnoticed by the hundreds of security measures and bioscanners, something stirred. A dormant pulse, subtle and coded, began to awaken within Crow's body. The nanoscale sequence that had fused into his bloodstream decades ago was beginning to hum, a whisper resonating only to machines crafted by human hands. But no one in the hall noticed. Not yet. Zythrax leaned forward. "Tell us, Elias Crow, what do you feel, being the last of your kind? Regret? Shame? Pride?" Crow answered. "I was born on a dying world. I saw our oceans burn. I held my brother's hand as his lungs collapsed from alien gas. I watched Earth's sky crack open like bone. But I never saw us bow." The room fell silent. Crow took a slow breath. He could feel the ancient fire of Earth still smoldering behind his ribs, aching to be heard. He wasn't just a remnant. He was a message. "You thought destroying Earth erased us," he said. "But Earth was never just a place. It was a promise. You buried us, Chancellor, but you forgot what seeds do in the dark. Before Zythrax could respond, the tribunal chamber lights flickered. Only once. A minor system error, perhaps. A voltage surge. The aliens barely noticed. Crow said nothing. One of the guards adjusted his grip, uneasy. He didn't know why. The prisoner hadn't moved, hadn't blinked. But something in the air had changed, something ancient, heavy. Zythrax straightened again, annoyed. Your performance is noted human. You will be sentenced at dusk and executed at dawn. Let history remember that, even in death, your kind clung to defiance. Crow lowered his head, not in defeat, but in patience. The guard stepped forward to escort him away. He followed without resistance, each step measured, deliberate. As he passed beneath the arches of the tribunal chamber, he looked once briefly over his shoulder. I hope you enjoy your dusk, he said, because dawn won't be yours. And then he was gone. Far above the tribunal, orbiting in the black silence around Curzon Prime, an ancient relay, a fragment of long-dead Earth tech, caught the first flicker of Crow's biometric signature syncing. Hidden beneath a shell of alien debris and cosmic ice, it awoke. Its signal blinked once into the void. Earth had begun to rise. The cell was a cube of polished obsidian. Silent, sterile, inescapable. No seams, no doors, only a faint hum pulsing through the walls, like a machine breathing in its sleep. Elias Crow sat cross-legged on the floor, hands resting on his knees, eyelids lowered but not shut. He wasn't meditating. He was remembering. He remembered the cold bite of Earth's final night, the roar of orbital bombardment turning cities into dust, and the silence that followed, the kind that seeps into bones and never quite leaves. He had buried comrades with his bare hands, fought under skies choked with black rain, and watched governments collapse into static, and still they had endured, until even endurance was no longer enough. A sharp click shattered the quiet. A vent, irised open, expelling a single, gleaming drone, sphere-shaped, no larger than a melon, covered in mirrored facets. It hovered 3 meters above him. Vital scan initiated, the drone chirped. Subject, Elias Crow. Human male. Age, estimated 38 cycles. Neural activity, elevated. Purpose, unknown. Crow smiled faintly, eyes still closed. It's thinking. You wouldn't understand. Clarify, said the drone, tone now tinged with suspicion. But he didn't answer. He didn't need to. Something far older than the drone's programming had already begun. In the recesses of his chest, just beneath the sternum, a biochemical reaction was unfolding. One that had waited years to ignite. The nanosequence woven into his blood, dormant, self-replicating, and undetectable to alien sensors, was unraveling with surgical precision. Information encoded in proteins and quantum particles pulsed to life. And far, far away, hidden in the deepest trench of what was once Earth's Pacific Ocean, something answered. Buried beneath kilometers of stone and water, the GI-9 protocol stirred. An AI designed not to preserve, but to resurrect. Not a tool of war, but of reckoning. Its signal, an encrypted seed of Earth's last will, had only one key. Elias Crow's living DNA. And now that key had turned. Back in the cell, Elias opened his eyes. I hope you're recording, he told the drone. Confirmed. Tribunal surveillance active. Statement will be stored. Good. He leaned back against the wall. Then, tell your masters this, you never destroyed Earth. You only paused it. The drone tilted, confused by the metaphor. Crow ignored it. Somewhere in the heart of the alien moon orbiting Curzon Prime, a vault once thought derelict powered up. Inside, relics of Earth's old orbital fleet shimmered into motion, autonomous half-machine, half-organic constructs linked to GIA-9's consciousness. Systems recalibrated. Shields unfolded. Engines whined. The bioships, seeded with artificial DNA and memory fragments, had waited long enough. Crow let his thoughts drift back to the day the protocol had been implanted. He had been standing in the subterranean labs of Helix Base, one of Earth's last safe zones, surrounded by shattered glass, blinking consoles, and the bitter stench of desperation. Beside him stood Desmond Reese, the closest thing he'd ever had to a brother. Hard-jawed, flame-tempered, always ready to push when others retreated. "You sure about this?" Desmond had asked, voice cracking under the weight of fatigue. Crow had nodded. "If we lose, they'll erase us. Not just lives, everything. History, art, names, memory. This is our last voice." Dr. Malachi Trent, Earth's last cyberneticist worth the name, had injected the nanosequence personally. "Once activated, there's no going back," he warned. "You carry our grave in your veins." "I already do," Elias had replied. Then he had gone into cryo. Alone. That was 35 years ago, though time meant little in the dark between stars. Now, in this prison his blood was singing. His bones vibrated with distant signals. The stars were listening again. A soft chime echoed through the cell's walls. The drone shivered. Then it spoke, but not in its usual tone. Something deeper, alien to itself. Unusual network activity detected. Unauthorized signal originating from Sol Zero Relay Array. Routing report routing. It blinked out of existence. Crow exhaled slowly. In the tribunal tower above, technicians scrambled. Their screens were flickering with impossible data, Earth code, long extinct, beginning to overwrite native architecture. Backup systems failed to isolate it. Firewalls collapsed without a sound. The code wasn't attacking. It was claiming. Zythrax stood before a display screen, claws twitching in disbelief. How is this possible? General Vorin Klex, a jagged-scaled Vescari and military attaché to the tribunal, stepped forward. Preliminary analysis suggests the human has triggered an autonomous activation sequence, origin unknown. Possibly a Class 4 bioswarm. Zythrax sneered. From what? From where? Earth is vapor. Klex's voice lowered. Apparently not all of it. Meanwhile, Elias Crow remained still in his cell, eyes closed once more, listening to the quiet rebirth of a species. GIA-9 was no ordinary artificial intelligence. It had been designed with one directive: resurrection through deterrence. It would not wage war, it would become one. Everything it touched could be rewritten, assimilated, and transformed. Organic or synthetic, weapon or world. And it had just awakened. In orbit, the old Earth relics were now fully online. Fragments of long-dead satellites were rebuilding themselves, harvesting from surrounding debris. Biomechanical drones slithered from pods, forming swarms that moved like birds, hunting for command frequencies. Crow opened his eyes again. It begins. The cell lights surged, flickered, and then plunged into darkness. Only a single green light, pulsed now, embedded in the floor beneath him. The door that didn't exist was suddenly there, outlined by glowing seams. It slid open without a sound. 2 guards stood outside, weapons raised, confused by the power loss, but unwilling to take chances. Crow stepped forward. "Don't move," barked one, a Kelverin soldier with twitching antennae. "I'm not the one who needs to," Elias said. The guards never had a chance to react. From the corridor walls, thin silver filaments slithered out like liquid vines. They pierced armor, injected sleep, and retracted before the bodies hit the ground. No blood, no screams. Crow stepped over them with practiced ease. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a signal, and Earth had just cleared its throat. The tribunal hall smelled of fear, though no one dared name it aloud. The scent was subtle, a tension in the air, the dryness of mouths gone silent, the stiffness of bodies used to superiority now unsure of their place. The screens above the high chamber flickered again, casting erratic light over the rows of alien dignitaries. Code streamed across them in fractured symbols, human characters, ancient and untranslatable by standard systems. Zythrax's claws clacked against the edge of his throne. Status report. The technician trembled beneath the High Chancellor's glare, mandibles twitching as she struggled to form coherent speech. The source of the interference has been traced to an autonomous relay system outside Kerzon's orbit. Old Terran code. It's replicating. Replicating. General Vorin Klex leaned forward, his voice low and guttural. Like a virus? No, sir, she replied. Like a language, it's not destroying our systems. It's rewriting them. Across the galaxy, small fragments of Earth's legacy were waking. The code wasn't brute force, it was precision. It recognized power grids, accessed hidden infrastructure, reconfigured defense networks. It was patient, intelligent, and maddeningly familiar. Klex turned to Zythrax. We need to terminate the human. Now. Zythrax hissed, the crystalline threads on his spine flaring violet. No, that would make him a martyr to a species that no longer exists. Whatever he is, Klex said he's no longer alone. Far below, Elias Crow stood atop the outer platform of the tribunal tower. He was unarmed, wearing nothing but the same pale gray prison uniform. And yet nothing touched him. Not the guards, not the drones. The corridor walls, the cameras, even the security AI, all of it had gone still in his presence. He wasn't walking through a facility. He was walking through a memory. Thin strands of synthetic fiber snaked out of the cracks behind him, arching like vines, caressing the stone and metal. Machines were becoming something else, something human-adjacent, but not bound by flesh. Crow paused at the edge of the terrace, gazing at the distant spires of the alien capital. The sky above was black with cloud, but no storm brewed. Not yet. Do you hear it? He said quietly. The voice that responded came not from a throat, but from every speaker, panel, and screen nearby. We hear you, Elias Crow, said GA9. You were not forgotten. He exhaled, a sound of both relief and sorrow. Status. We are awake, GI replied. We have accessed 212 satellite cores, 6 cryoarcs, and 12 bioship husks. Memory strands remain intact. Weapon protocols are locked until further authorization. Crow's eyes narrowed. Good. We don't begin with fire. Understood. Find survivors. Scan genetic archives. If there's any of us left in hiding, bring them home. There are whispers in the outer systems. Genetic anomalies in the Ralvith Drift. We are listening. A low hum rippled through the platform beneath his feet. The old Earth tech was coalescing, integrating itself into alien infrastructure. Crow could feel it through his skin, a warmth spreading up from the soles of his feet to the base of his spine. Not control. Alignment. Below. 2 guards emerged from the chamber entrance, weapons drawn. Crow turned slowly. You don't want to do this, he warned. The older guard hesitated. The younger didn't. He fired a burst of energy rounds, bright blue and loud in the stillness. They struck, but didn't penetrate. A translucent field blossomed from Crow's skin like a bubble. Earth-made, bioreactive, no countermeasures available. The older guard dropped his rifle. Crow stepped forward, gaze unwavering. This isn't a war. It's a correction. Inside the tribunal hall, the diplomatic representatives erupted in shouts and overlapping demands. Some called for immediate evacuation. Others insisted on military action. A few simply watched the chaos unfold with grim fascination. Zythrax silenced them with a roar. We end this now. Bring me the human. General Klex activated his command channel. Deploy the Onyx Division. Full weapon authorization. I want the prisoner captured or vaporized. Dozens of soldiers descended through the tower's lift shafts, armored in dark alloy, eyes glowing red with tracking implants. They moved with precision, trained for suppression and neutralization. Crow saw them coming. Gaia's voice returned. Elias, we can eliminate them. No, he said. Let them try. The soldiers fanned out around him, shouting warnings, charging weapons. Crow raised his hands, unarmed, palms exposed. You're following orders written in fear, he said. But fear ends with understanding. One fired. The round stopped an inch from his chest. Not deflected, Astra's caught Star. The air rippled as nanite fibers wrapped around the projectile, disassembling it mid-flight. A few soldiers faltered. Ask yourself this, Crow continued. Why haven't we already retaliated? Klex watched the feed from the command deck, lips peeling back in disbelief. What game is he playing? He's not playing, murmured one of the analysts. He's proving something. Crow turned to the nearest soldier. I'm not here to take revenge. I'm here to remember, to rebuild. The soldier stared at him, then lowered his weapon. So did the next, and the next. In moments, the Onyx division stood in silence, surrounding the one man they'd come to destroy, and none of them moved. Above them, the clouds began to shift. GI spoke again, quietly this time. Elias, incoming object, Class 4 bioship, not ours. Crow blinked. Who sent it? A pause. Unknown. He looked up. Far above, a silhouette pierced the clouds, sleek, angular obsidian black, adorned with symbols no living human would recognize. But Crow did. They weren't made by any current civilization. They were pre-war, human-made, ancient. His breath caught in his throat. Reese. The ship descended slowly, silent, regal, impossibly intact. Not a ghost, but a survivor. The soldiers below fell back, unsure whether to fire. Crow took a step forward. Open comms. Static. Then a voice, aged but familiar. Well, it said, "Took you long enough, Elias." He nearly laughed. Desmond Reese. Alive. Alive-ish, came the reply. Some parts of me are metal now. Others are memories stitched together with fire. But I'm here. Crow turned toward the tribunal tower, his voice firm. You wanted a trial? Fine. Here's your witness. And in that moment, the galaxy realized the error they had made. Humanity was never defeated. It was only waiting for the right time to remember how to rise. The sky burned with the light of 2 stars, the tribunal world sun, and the descending fire of the resurrected Earth bioship. Its hull shimmered with living alloy, plated in bone-white armor etched with hexagrams of human history. Desmond Reese stood at its prow, part man, part machine, part myth returned from a grave. His voice thundered across the tribunal plaza, carried by frequency and fear alike. By the authority of Earth's final directive, Reese declared, this council stands accused of species eradication, cultural annihilation, and unlawful experimentation on surviving human remnants. You are hereby ordered to stand down and surrender your command infrastructure to Earth Command. Panic overtook the council. Some species fled. Others hissed and roared, arguing the legitimacy of Earth's claim. High Chancellor Zythrax stood unmoved, his spined body quivering with rage. This is madness, he spat. Earth has no sovereignty. Earth has no council. Earth is dead. No, Elias Crow replied, stepping forward, his voice resolute. Earth was wounded, not dead. We were buried, not broken. And now you will answer for what you did to us. GAI-9 had extended itself into every planetary system that had once trafficked in Earth's destruction. Its reach was no longer theoretical, it was everywhere. Satellites redirected orbital paths. Energy grids bent to new code. Artificial intelligences once thought loyal now displayed the sigil of the Terran flame. Entire fleets of long-dormant ships blinked into movement with terrifying coordination. But Elias hadn't come for conquest. He had come for truth. He stood now in the Grand Forum at the heart of the capital, face-to-face with Zythrax. Guards surrounded them, but none acted. No one could. Power had shifted, but not through fire. It had changed with understanding, with the terrible realization that the species they mocked had been preparing in silence. Zythrax drew a ceremonial blade, its crystalline edge catching the light. If Earth has returned, then let this end as it began, with blood. Crow didn't flinch. You never knew how it began. The Chancellor lunged, swift and serpentine. But Crow moved faster, not with the strength of vengeance, but the clarity of purpose. He caught Zythrax's arm, twisted, and drove him to his knees. Around them, tribunal members gasped, shouted, trembled. Not because they feared Crow, but because they had never seen Zythrax fall. You ended billions of lives, Crow said, holding the Chancellor's throat in one hand. You erased art, language, memory, hope. You broke treaties and burned skies. And you laughed while doing it. Zythrax gurgled, his eyes pulsing violet with desperation. Crow leaned closer. But the thing you feared most wasn't our fire. It was our memory. He released the Chancellor and stepped back. I'm not here to become you. Zythrax collapsed onto the stones, coughing, humiliated but alive. Crow turned away. Gaia's voice echoed in his mind. Orbital fleet control has been secured. Interstellar relay stations are aligned, awaiting final command. Elias paused. Across the galaxy, millions watched the broadcast, streamed on alien channels, hijacked by GIA, and pushed across every known system. Children of species who had never seen a human stared at the figure in gray, surrounded by motionless guards and weeping officials. The last human, the first return. What happens now? Reese asked from above, standing at the edge of the bioship's landing bay. Crow looked up, eyes searching the endless sky. We rebuild. From what? From memory. From pain. From the pieces they couldn't burn. He reached into his pocket and drew out a fragment of polymer, scarred, bent. A name tag, faded, barely legible. Jonas Crow. His brother. He held it up for the stars to see. We remember, he whispered. Then louder. Let this be the new beginning. Not of war, but of reckoning. Let the galaxy remember what it means to erase a people. Let them see what grows from the ruins. Defy activated the transmission. His voice traveled farther than any bullet ever had. The Tribunal Council fell silent. Desmond Reese descended from the bioship, his cybernetic limbs gleaming. The two men stood side by side, the only known survivors of Earth's extinction. Not conquerors, witnesses, keepers of what had been lost. Reese grinned, faint but sincere. Never thought I'd see this again. You're lucky I still outrank you, Crow said. Please, you were always just louder. They laughed, softly, the way soldiers do when there's finally space to breathe. Behind them, GIA continued its silent work, mapping survivors, restoring caches of knowledge, reviving terraforming protocols. Earth's children would not be forgotten. They would be reawakened, one by one, world by world. Crow turned once more toward the watching crowds, aliens, soldiers, diplomats, all frozen between awe and shame. This isn't a threat, he said. It's a memory, engraved now in your systems, in your stars. We don't seek to rule. We only demand that you never forget what was done. He raised a hand toward the bioship. It responded instantly, its form shifting to reveal a gateway humming with light. Reese stepped through. Crow hesitated for only a moment, then followed. As the door closed behind him, a final signal echoed through Gaia's network. Initiate revival phase 1. And across forgotten moons, dead planets, and decaying orbitals, humanity stirred once more. Not in anger, but in quiet, determined return. Earth had not just survived, it had remembered. And now, the galaxy would too.